Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Rolfe. Welcome to another episode of Home Coffee Brewing with April. This week we're back with Zachimir that we recorded a home brewing video with that we launched last week. This time we're checking out how he's to brew April coffee as espresso at home. Cool, so we're doing an espresso video and I'm assuming now in this video that you saw last week's video where we did home brewing or like a filter brewing video, right?
Yep.
Obviously, we're filming them at the same time. We're debating which coffee to use now, actually, because we used Pink Bourbon, El Tesoro, Colombia for filter.
Yep.
I think we settled on Kamavindi.
Kamavindi.
Yeah.
It's a great coffee.
He said it, not me, but it is a great coffee.
Yep.
Kenyan coffee, one of my favorite producers in Kenya, 100%. Super excited for the season's lot as well because it's a pure lot separation, so that's really cool. And Kenyan espresso is amazing.
And it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
I think
it's amazing when you get it right.
I think that's right. And I don't know if we'll get it right,
No,
but it's like something to work towards because you have that acidity element that you really need to work with carefully.
Oh, sure.
In espresso, it's easy for it to be maybe astringent.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like requires some effort.
Yeah.
You know.
What is a good espresso?
To me, it's all about balance because the concentration of espresso can emphasize very bad flavors, or it can emphasize very good flavors. Right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So to me, it's like it'll amplify anything you put in there.
Yeah.
So it needs to be perfect. It's like every day is the Super Bowl when it comes to espresso.
Okay, cool.
With filter, it's just much more forgiving.
Yeah.
And I was only a filter brewer for many years.
Yeah.
And I'm just now a home espresso person. It's hard, but it's really fun.
But you picked, let's maybe walk through, and he wants to do a test shot, so we're doing that kind of at the same time. But just walk us through the equipment, right? Because it is a bit of a material sport, espresso, I want to say. I mean, filter brewing as well, but not to the same extent, at least not financially.
Exactly.
But like you're pretty geared up for like a home espresso brewer. So like just walk us through a little bit what it is you're using.
Yeah, sure. So for the machine, I got the Linnea Mini R. That's just the kind of newer version that has a shot timer.
Yeah.
And I think it has a few other functions. It has a kind of app functionality too, which I use, which is pretty cool.
It does.
And then kind of related, I have the Akaya scale that is also La Marzocco. It's like the brew by weight scale.
Oh wait, they have okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of their own thing. So basically when you sync it up, you can make it volumetric. So it'll stop when you have your desired weight or volume.
How did I miss that? It's my own like.
There's always things to learn.
Now.
Yeah,
that's amazing. But that's why I do these videos, right?
Yeah,
because you guys are just doing cool shit.
Because we're crazy,
awesome,
you know.
They are a bit crazy, yeah, in the best kind of way.
Yep,
that's super cool. Okay, I'm gonna get me one of those.
Yeah, the scale's great. It's a little more expensive than the Lunar, which is already pretty expensive.
Whoa, yeah.
I know, right? But
this is also pretty expensive.
That's the thing is you're spending.
It's like value for money, right? Let's not use the word expensive. Maybe it's like it's a lot of money, but you get a very good espresso machine for that money.
Exactly, and maybe for what you're trying to do at home, it's not worth it for you.
Yeah.
But for me, for what I wanted to accomplish at home, it's worth every penny.
Yeah. Sure.
Right, because the temperature control, all that stuff, it's a wonderful machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So I got the machine, and then with the scale, those kind of work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then I think the next notable thing is the grinder, Optional, Lagom P64. It's got the kind of stock espresso burr that they make, the Mizen burr, 64 millimeter. Really happy with it. I was not very educated in espresso grinders, but I think this was the right choice. It's a really good grinder.
So like, funny side note on Optional. So first of all, like I'm a fan. We have the EO1.
Is that the 98 millimeter
massive
one?
Thing?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I'm going to be honest and say, and we also do like stock bursts. No SSP.
Yeah.
But in general, so we've been struggling brewing good filter with it. It's been a mess. We haven't been able to do it.
Interesting.
But he just meant you're going to go to the April tasting menu actually in April, which is really cool in our store.
April. Yep.
And you're going to try espresso brewed on that.
Oh, I'm excited then. That's great.
It's our designated espresso grinder for the tasting menu.
Okay.
We have quite a few grinders set up in the back.
Yeah.
But that's actually like optional and espresso. It just works. It's like a really good combination. Also when it comes to lighter roasted coffee. So like good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, really happy with that.
What was the main, like, how did you find that? What is the main argument? What price, is that a big thing? Design, is that a big thing? Obviously, it's a quite beautiful setup.
Thank you.
This is also really nice. We'll show you like details, but it has some like really
we'll
nice
go into that too. Yeah. So with grinder, I think it was all the things you described. I mean, like I know I wanted a grinder that tasted really good with light roasted espresso.
Yeah.
Light roasted espresso can be a challenge.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You really have to work for it and think kind of consciously about what equipment you're using.
Yeah.
I definitely the space it takes up was a consideration. I'm at home. I'm in an apartment here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Not too much space. You know, I got a dishwasher here, right? So I wanted something that was a little more compact.
Yep.
So as far as the other options, I was thinking about that home Malconic grinder.
Yeah.
The X54. That was
Also
sort
a
of
good option.
Yeah. Yeah, really good. And I think that ultimately I was persuaded by the single dose.
Yeah.
I knew that I have a bunch of coffees. I always have a bunch of coffees. Subscribe to April, to say, shout out, great stuff. So I knew that I was going to switch out coffees very often.
Yeah.
And I did not want to go through that hopper, purge, switch coffees, hopper, purge. It's very wasteful.
Fair enough.
And I want to sort of keep as much coffee as I can.
Yeah.
You know?
And I want to say like a hopper system at home, unless you're brewing like crazy, like you're gonna have oxidation issues. You're gonna have like it's maybe not so suitable. I think single dose makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then some St. Anthony.
Yeah, St. Anthony. Yeah, the maple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the distribution tool, or actually, switch it. Yeah. So I got the distribution tool, tamper. Love the products. Love the fact that they're very like handheld.
Yeah.
As opposed to the more traditional tamper. I love the maple wood too.
They're like heavy also. Like
they're really substantial.
Yeah.
And this is sort of their like kind of kit. Yeah. I think this is actually supposed to be a knockbox, but
it is supposed to be a knockbox.
I don't really use it. I'm more
is that from them, the knockbox?
The knockbox is actually La Marzocco, I think.
Okay, because it looks like it's it is, but it looks like it's matching really nicely.
That's what I was happy about, and I also have a little brush. But I was happy that the woods matched because I knew I wanted an integrated setup. Yeah, I'm hoping to do the maple add-on.
On the little fixtures.
Yeah.
That would look pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it's just nice and unified. You're already, as you mentioned, you're already spending that money. Yeah. You just want it to kind of look how you want it to look.
The thing is, if you want to do, I mean, obviously you can get the from La Marzocco, but also like we do a lot of woodwork details in I mean, you've been to our first shop. Yeah. And you can get that done in like a wood shop. Yeah. For like a way less and probably a bit better. So like there's like some easy ways to do that if you want to.
That's a good point. Yeah, because you had the mod bar set up with the darker wood details, which was beautiful. Exactly. Very cool.
So you can definitely do a lot of stuff, right? Okay, super cool.
And then I use this actually just more for like the kind of tamping stand.
Yeah, sure.
So I kind of just have it right there.
Yeah.
I got these are also optional. I got a little collar that's magnetic. Yeah. And then the WDT, which I'm sure you have questions about, and I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah,
you need to have. I don't know. It's a long thing, right? And I think we just. So also side note, we just came out of the Danish Barista Championships, which we had a few competitors. One of them won, but it's interesting because we had when you compete, distribution tools is very important, and you can argue it's important from let's say, technical perspective and like a taste perspective, right? Yeah. The taste thing, so I never used one when I competed, actually.
No kidding.
The only like World Barista Championship finalist that never really actually used the distribution tool.
No kidding, wow.
If you want to compete these days and get a full technical score-wise, you actually have to. Yeah. But then when it comes to those, a lot of them are actually not necessarily working so well. So they're a little bit tricky. I kind of like the handheld ones and curious to see how you're going to use it as well. Yeah. I also noticed like this portafilter is pretty dope.
Yeah. So I think that's a new La Marzocco thing is they have the bottomless, right? Yeah. And then you can actually add this like food safe plastic for the split shot.
So that's why it looks like that.
Okay. Yeah. So it looks a little crazy. You know, it looks a little kind of differently shaped.
I just thought it fitted really nicely on top of that.
And I like it because then it's more secure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, really but then if you wanted to kind of split it, you just kind of do that.
Okay. I mean, that's smart.
Yeah, I know some people don't like the plastic; they like the metal.
Yeah.
Right. But I've had no problems with it so far. But I haven't really used it as much because any home brewer loves to see the shot form. That is like, espresso is so visual.
Yeah.
And I think that you can know a lot about your shot before you taste it.
Are you like Jacket and Orphine, where you basically like sit underneath and you're...
There's no one like him. He's like... But
you should watch that though. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I think that was on your Instagram, right?
Every shot.
Every single shot. Yeah.
Takeaway lattes, but it doesn't matter what he does. It's like, I'm going to look at this espresso very intently, which I appreciate.
Yes, absolutely.
Basket size?
Yeah, so I've really gone back and forth a lot, but right now this is a 14-gram basket.
14-gram basket.
Yeah.
Okay. So quite small.
Very small, which presents some challenges, certainly, but I'm making multiple espressos a day.
Yeah.
With different coffees.
Multiple espressos a day.
So what I try to do in the morning is I'll make a coffee for myself and my fiance.
Yeah.
I like to start with filter.
Yeah.
I think filter is a great way to start the day. And then I'll do an espresso right after that. Maybe do some work, do something else, eat. Eating is good.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then I'll usually do 1 or 2 more espressos kind of throughout the day. So I'll work on my laptop or whatever. I'll get kind of bored.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I want to make an espresso.
Sure.
So I come over and make an espresso. Sometimes it doesn't pull the way you want it, so you got to do multiple.
You have to do it again. Fair enough.
So that smaller basket, it's nice because I'll do a 13-gram shot. So it's just a little less caffeine. Right, I can do a smaller shot, try some more throughout the day. Because if I do the bigger basket, I end up not drinking it at all because it's a lot of espresso.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember the last time or if I ever tried an espresso brewed with 13 grams of coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm quite excited for this.
Yeah.
And that's basically a filtered dose.
Yep. It's like your April dose, the 13.
Exactly. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of cool.
Let's try it.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm excited.
All right.
And again, so Kamavindi, we talked about it in the filter brewing video where like roasted coffee is really important. Mm-hmm. Where are we roast date wise on this?
This is roasted 225.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So also like really well roasted coffee, which I think as you said, espresso amplifies everything that's in the coffee.
Yep.
So I feel with espresso almost more so than filter, if it's not properly roasted, you're gonna taste that very clearly, I think.
Yep, exactly.
So you're dosing, and it says basically 13, and then you're back on the spray.
Back on the spray.
We saw that in the brewing video as well.
Especially with how fine espresso grinding can be.
Yep.
You can get more mess. Although this is not a very messy grinder, but I still think that the static is a thing.
Yeah, sure. And again, there's still people that also argue that it's linked to an improved extraction, right, as well, which is kind of an interesting one also.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just kind of do it in.
Cool.
It's so funny though because it's so annoying with the water. It'll stick.
And the coffee beans will stay. You have to be careful to get everything out there.
Exactly. Another cool thing about the Option O is the RPM.
The RPM, I was meaning to ask you about that.
Yeah, I have it on 3 out of 8, and I know that there's like a calculation.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the calculation, but...
I'll be honest and say that I'm not spending so much time changing RPM. I would also do a default on our EO1, we're also on 3.
Oh, okay, cool.
It seems to be like, isn't that also the factory recommendation?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
And it just feels like it works really well. RPM is one of those things where I think producers do it because homebrewers love to try shit. Yeah. It's not necessarily because it will taste so much better. And we've been doing a lot of analysis on particle distribution with different RPMs.
Oh,
and,
so what have you found?
It's very inconclusive. Like it's not, like the results are not consistent. And usually, like people would argue in most cases that a slower RPM gives a more uniform grind size.
Exactly.
Which I don't find that in our readings.
That's
don't
interesting.
see like a pure clear consistency. It's a bit different from grinder to grinder.
Right.
But in general, I don't see any like cohesive measurements that actually indicates that.
And I'll say from a homebrewer perspective, when I've made changes in RPM, obviously it'll affect the time that it takes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I've actually seen a difference in the shot time.
Also a fair point, right? What I can say is that if you go the highest RPM and let's say you grind 10 doses, you seem to have a larger discrepancy in between the doses on the same grind size.
Oh, but yet the key,
so the particle distribution is different. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So
cool. So now we're
doing it. Yeah. So
I guess distributing or killing the cups.
Yeah.
You don't have so many cups to begin with. It feels like also.
Yeah. It's high quality grinder, right?
High quality grinder. Yeah.
But I've really gone back and forth with how much to actually do this. I definitely do need to do it.
You're like going for it.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive.
It's pretty aggressive.
And I'm not sure how that's really affecting it, but I just found that I had some channeling before I started doing it.
Yep.
And now I have less channeling, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
A side note, if you ever start competing in the Barista Championships, you can definitely do it, but the judge will need you to do it the same identical way every time.
Right, and I there's no consistency.
How did I do this?
Yeah, exactly. So, I kind of declump it a little bit. Yeah, awesome. Just a little set. Then I'll do the distribution, which a lot of people claim doesn't do anything, but I think it helps.
It looks pretty.
It looks pretty.
That's there's value in that. It levels everything out. I'm sure your tapping is just of a bit more high quality.
Yeah, I think it just makes it easier for that tamp. I kind of do a little check, just to make sure. I'm not sure. It's just kind of nice to do that.
I mean, it's a bit old school, but it
is old school.
Yeah, sure.
I think that probably picked that up my old Verve coffee days. Yep. Yeah. All right. Actually, we'll just purge it.
Where are we? Like brewing temperatures? Can you regulate that here?
Yeah. So let me actually get my phone because it'll.
Go for it.
I don't even know where it is. Yeah. Well, so I can't find it, but I think it's around the same as the kettle, just kind of by coincidence.
Yeah,
it's like
92 degrees Celsius ish.
Yeah, I've been kind of following the 90 to 94 range, which I know is kind of popular.
Very much reasonable.
Yeah. And then we'll do that.
Let's go for it.
So what I'll do is I'll kind of do that, and I'll kind of just do that. Be a little slow, but it gets really fast at the end.
Are you looking for anything specific now?
Really, I'm just not looking for channeling. I mean, like if I see the kind of sprays of water, I'm like, that's not good.
No.
But and I'm looking for like a consistent like kind of drop down. You know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, and then so you actually use this of volumetric. So it actually, awesome.
Yeah, and actually this was really good. Sometimes it's not that accurate because it's like, I think they actually use like AI.
Oh, right, so this was the setting it was okay.
Yeah, so it
all falls to place here.
Exactly, so I pre-programmed it for 40 grams. So I got 13 grams of coffee in, 40 grams of coffee out. I think it's like 3 point, some change, 1 to 3.3, something like that. And then, it'll stop as close as it can to that 40 gram. Yeah,
shout out to La Marzocco for like a smart home brewing setup.
Absolutely.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, so you lose that control of when to do the paddle.
Yeah.
Because typically it's just a manual paddle.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to sort of just have it done for you. And if you're ever doing milk, you can kind of just let it do its thing. Yeah, and then you can steam your milk, which is wonderful. Yeah.
So my head goes, La Marzocco, why don't you do this on all of your commercial machines? Because their built-in scales are, and I'm sorry, but it's not always working out the way it should.
Interesting.
But if you can do a similar setup, much better.
At Go Get 'Em Tiger, we had that, is it the KB machine?
Yep.
The one where you just insert it, you don't have to twist it.
Oh, the nice little click
yeah,
thing.
The click. Yeah, and then it had scales. I can't remember if they were really good or not. But it was a more commercial setting too. So
the scales are great when they work. They don't just always work.
Yeah.
And then they're not so great. And it's quite an expensive investment.
It is.
It costs a lot more to get them built in.
Versus
this was awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You use them anyway.
Yeah.
Most people, because you kind of need to because the scales are not really working. So you're going to brew
end
it
up doing it anyway. Yeah.
So why don't you just integrate that?
Yeah. So I guess I'll just kind of split it.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe we can do a split shot for the actual one, but...
So this is still the test espresso.
I know, we're still testing, I guess.
But I think that makes sense because it's hard to get it like
I'll give you the
perfect
bigger
on
one
the first time. That's very kind of you. Cool. So what are we looking for here? Like you brewed this before?
Yeah, I brewed this one a few times. I've been kind of playing with the recipe, but we're just looking for a pronounced acidity that's not too intense. And then we're also looking for some structure, some chocolate. I think people kind of forget that Kenya can actually be a chocolatey coffee. You think about it as
100%.
juicy and acidity, but yeah.
I mean, it's all in. It's quite versatile. I think why I love Kenyan coffees is that you have so much to play with, which makes sense. The base taste quality of the coffee is very high.
Yeah. Very expressive. This is a 30-second shot, and I think you can kind of tell.
As it becomes a bit richer.
Yeah, a little richer.
Yeah.
And maybe you're starting to get like a little bit of like roast character. I think there's a little bit of, the finish is a little bitter, but it does have a nice fruit quality.
I think up front it's a nice fruit. I would like him a better mid-range.
Exactly.
In the cup.
Exactly.
But I think that definitely comes down to like a faster shot. How much faster would you go? Would you go like, a few seconds, or would you go 20 seconds?
Just a few seconds. Yeah, I think like if this was like 26, just a few seconds would be good.
Cool.
I know that so many of the more like turbo shot recipes are like 19, 20 seconds. Yeah. I haven't had a lot of good luck with that recipe at home. Could be the water I'm using. I'm using bottled water that La Marzocco recommended. Crystal Geyser, if you're here in the States.
What's the name? Of the bottled water?
Oh, Crystal Geyser.
Crystal Geyser.
Yep. Because I'm not plumbed in or anything, so I just have the reservoir underneath.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then I did modify the pressure, so this is a 6-bar shot.
Yeah, cool.
And then no pre-infusion, or actually, so La Marzocco has a pre-brewing feature as well, which is, I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
I've tried it a few times and haven't had that much luck with it. So this is just a straight 6-bar shot.
Okay, super cool. Yeah. Let's try it. We'll do it again. Let's try to run that a little bit faster, and then we'll see what comes out.
Cool. Sounds good.
Still kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm just amazed at a 13-gram dose.
I know. So what do you think that the smaller basket size is doing to that coffee?
I mean, you have to consider flow rate. That's the most important part of it, right? And what I can say is that, obviously what you're having is that you have a much more shallow depth, right? Mm-hmm. And when you go on some kind of old school machines, one of the challenges is the diameter of the basket is too small. And when they run a larger dose, it becomes very deep. Mm-hmm. And then by default, you're going to have something very bitter, very crema focused, very heavy, like an old school Pavoni machine. You can take the lightest roasted coffee in the world. You're still going to come out with like that crema, and it's going to be super heavy because it's a stylistic choice. So, I mean, this becomes more in the, not that it tastes like filter coffee, but I mean, I'm assuming you have the opportunity to run something very clean, very juicy. And then the challenge would be to build in, let's say, the right structure into it. Potentially, but it's just a stylistic choice, right? Yeah. But it makes a big difference. But I also appreciate that you're down dosing in the filter. That's something I do always.
That's where I got it from. Yeah. I've been trying between 1 and 2. Yeah. And I think 1 has been good for me. Yeah. 1 down.
2 is like we occasionally do 2 grams down. And to be fair, like there's a coffee every once in a while where we kind of dose the same. But we would never updose. Right. It just wouldn't happen. Like the flow of water through the coffee just doesn't make any sense. So I wouldn't do that.
Do you, at the shop, do you brew into something and then put it in the...
So we brew directly into the cups.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And I've seen, especially here in LA, very few people do that.
That's right.
I think Jack is maybe the only one that I've seen. I'm sure there's someone else, but... Like out of the specialty coffee shops.
Definitely less common. Yeah.
One thing I'm gonna, just like as a fun thing, I'm not sure if you tried it, but it's also something I've noticed. Try just chilling this down.
Okay, cool.
Have you done that?
No, I've never tried it. I've always wanted to try it though.
Because now it's like, I noticed that when we took it out, like it's quite hot. It's not a bad thing, but one of the things you can actually do, obviously you can buy like fancy Paragons or whatever if you want to. Yeah. But you have a fridge right
Should we just
behind you. I'm not sure how fast it is.
Oh, because it would take...
Or do you have multiple ones?
No, I just have one. Yeah, so
it's gonna take a bit too much time. I think.
Yeah.
But in general, like at home, I would recommend that. Just or even when you heat the machine up, just have, because you're gonna notice that in April we always have the portafilters out.
Oh.
So all of our, especially the clean espresso, that's always gonna be on our room temperature basket.
So you're just leaving it out.
Yeah, okay. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's not always that you have to, let's say, chill it down, and sometimes that has other kind of consequences that are not so nice taste-wise.
Yeah.
And it's vary from coffee to coffee, but definitely going from this very hot to room temperature makes a big difference.
So what I've found too that might be similar, although it's a bit different, is some coffee shops, I think Kumquat does this.
Yep.
They always brew the espresso into a chilled glass.
Chilled glass, yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of cool.
It makes a difference, but I would say that the closer to the actual extraction you can be when you change the temperature, it just emphasizes the difference.
Because if you're brewing into the glass, the extraction's already done.
Yeah, it's not really going to change much. It's going to obviously pull down the temperature, but in terms of, let's say, aromatic compounds and whatnot, I find that the biggest difference is not so much from a flavor perspective, it's more from a tactile perspective.
Which is, an espresso is kind of so important. Yeah. It's everything.
Tactile is super important.
Okay,
so what are we doing grind size here to get a faster shot?
Yeah, so I just moved it one click coarser.
Yeah.
Kind of as simple as that.
Where was the original click, just so that you guys know for reference?
Yeah, so we were at a 6. Yeah, 0.6, and I just moved it to 0.7. So
yeah, so like really minimal changes is still going to give you like a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could run like maybe between 3 and 5 seconds shorter.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, the other option was maybe to updose the... Actually, hold on. No, it'd be, you down dose it a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But I kind of liked where we're at. And I think with the small basket, I don't want to down dose even more.
I think that makes sense. And it's like, sure, down dose, you get on the same grind size, you get a faster extraction, 100%. But you're also changing the baseline of the extraction, right? Which can sometimes be a good thing, but what you want to do is you lock in the ratio and the extraction, and then you fine tune with that brewing time, right?
Yeah. All right.
Cool, so coffee in,
Right.
Still getting stuck.
Exactly, yeah. Kind of just, it's okay, we're home brewing, All right.
That happens, like, professionally as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really happy with the Optiono. It's really great.
It's like, it's not so noisy. It's pretty quick, and as you say, it's a very clean grinder.
Yeah, I think that's right. Kind of just give it a few taps. It's the
how is the retention?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I find that I don't need to clean it out as much.
Yeah.
Of course, zero retention.
I mean,
what does that mean, right? But I'd say it's low. I'll typically like dose another 0.1 gram.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of get out like, I'll lose that 0.1.
Yeah.
Right. Also, I think it's pretty good. Give it a tap.
Distribution again.
Yeah.
How is this machine? So like, when one of the challenges I'm assuming with homebrewing machines is the kind of back-to-back shots.
Yeah.
Is there any issues with that here, or?
I think that's the great thing about the La Marzocco, the Linnea.
It's kind of what you pay for. Yeah.
It's what you pay for. You're getting the dual boiler. You're not really getting any significant cool down or differences in temperature. I find that the temperature is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I'm not testing or anything like that, but just from a kind of just visual perspective, everything seems to be pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Tapping it down, distributing.
Yep.
Tapping, and I think it's just in general, like, it's smart to use a step tamper so that you're tapping even. One side note on those, and it's see that it's not an issue when you prep, but some people, when they use that kind of tamper, they're actually angling it inconsistent when they put it in. Yeah. And they actually don't get an even tap. It's a common like competition thing as well.
Oh,
like, everyone, because they have a step tamper, you think you're always going to be even.
But you need to push it evenly.
You have to put it on like straight on top. That's the thing, right? If you have a little bit of an angle, basically if you do it too much in front of you, by default people kind of twist your ankles a little bit, and then they get a bit uneven. So you have to do it. Just do it so that you're straight above it.
That's the interesting thing about the setup too, is that you do have the tools a bit in front of you a little bit. So maybe it would help to kind of move it back or whatever.
You could, like the tiny details, right?
Yeah.
But details matter.
Details matter.
You know,
details matter. Yeah. All right.
Cool. So we're going back in.
Yeah. All right. Just kind of clean it a little bit.
Yeah.
I try to use the spout as much as possible, just because the folks at La Marzocco say that you're just trying to purge as much water out of your boiler.
Yeah.
So I try to like use this more than I would. I'm not an Americano person or anything, but I try to clean the portafilter with it, clean my tools with it, just to kind of purge that water a little bit.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
We did the same thing in April. Like we would empty the whole water system every morning, pretty much.
Oh, really? Every morning?
So we don't have water sitting in the machine, because water sitting in the tanks is kind of mineralized.
It's much faster.
Yeah.
Much faster.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm realizing that every time I do this, I'm also not in the video anymore.
You're like Jack, you know? Yeah.
True.
So this was
way faster.
Significantly faster.
Yeah, that's cool though. I like that. Then we get to try a bit of a range.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But still like 40 grams, right?
Yep, still 40 grams. I think the scale, I think over time the scale gets more and more accurate.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's say 40 and you have 13. What's the ratio of that? How's your math skills?
13 to 40, so 39. 39 is 3, so it's just above 3. Yeah, 3.1.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you run around. I mean, I run around to a lot of coffee shops, and you still find this like 1 to 2 ratios,
especially in LA.
Especially in LA, and I think I actually haven't done a home espresso brewing video with anyone doing anything remotely close to a 1 to 2. No. They're all pushing more volume.
More turbo.
The home brewers get it. The professional shops.
Also, I think that professional shops are in a tough place, because they need to brew an espresso that tastes good with all kinds of milk volumes.
Fair enough. Especially here.
A lot of lattes here.
Yeah, I mean, at April we just have 1 milk volume. So
what is that? I wanted to ask you what that volume was.
I'd say it's closer to like the flat white world. Cool. If you want to like have a bit of a reference. I think for us it's for me it's important that a milk beverage tastes like coffee. Yeah, you still want that's kind of the whole point. Yeah, right? I don't want it to taste like milk. I want, if we're using Kamavindi, I want the berry notes to go through. Or like El Tesoro, like I want some of that citrus, some of that florality in the milk beverage. We also have a lot of folks that they want sugar with their coffee. Right? They need something that's a little more body to kind of come through, So in terms of aroma, like this smells like it's going to taste a lot cleaner. Yeah. You have a little bit more of that kind of juicy character, which is really cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Much stronger acidity. Yeah. Yeah. In a good way or in a bad way? Yeah, I'd say that maybe it's a little much on the acidity, but I'd prefer this than the 30-second. I prefer this as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you taste more on the kind of integrity of the coffee, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. Is it a tad high in acidity? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but I reckon that's okay because you have a high quality acidity. Exactly, it's a good acidity. You can have a high volume of acidity that is a low quality, and then that's... Especially with Kenyas that are maybe not as good, you get that kind of tomato-y character that some people complain about. For sure. But you don't get that with a Kamavindi, which is great. So, I mean, I think that takeaway, it'd be interesting to see this coffee on a bigger basket to kind of maybe allow the full structure of the coffee. Yeah, but this is kind of nice. It's good. It's good. Like, I'm surprised I think there's a structural difference in the shot, I think, in general, because you are using so little coffee. Yes. Yep. But it's not bad. Like, it's different. Quite nice. Yeah. It's like quite enjoyable. And I get the idea of like, then you can have like a few of these. Exactly. Because if I want to try the El Tesoro in a couple hours from now, I can do that. But if I had a 19 gram in shot, 60 grams of liquid, I'm done for the day. Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah. And some filter coffee on top of that. Some filter coffee on top of that. Yeah. Super cool. Anything else, like wrapping it up? What else should you kind of think about? Or what's the most important lesson that you can share with like a home espresso brewer? Like what should they... Obviously your first setup is kind of a fancy setup. Yeah. But what is what is the one thing they should invest a bit of money in if they have it? Honestly, even before investing money, I think it's just like using
using the experts. You know, I learned so much from watching you on YouTube, James Hoffman, Reels Prometheus, you know, Lance Hedrick. I mean, and they're all different. You guys all do a different style of espresso. Yeah. But I can kind of take the best from each.
Yeah, and find your style there, right?
Exactly.
I think that's really cool. And I think that's one of the, you know, that's a cool thing with the industry today, right? Yeah. You're actually able to get like feedback and input from such a wide range of things.
Yeah, because I watched like James Hoffman's espresso grinder video. You know, he did like a review of like 10 different espresso grinders. Yeah. And I never heard of Optiono before that. I was probably going to get the Volcanic.
That was because of that video? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he more or less was like, oh, this is really good. It's similar to the Weber EG1, which is a very popular cool grinder. Yeah. But obviously very expensive, very big.
Very big.
Yeah, very big profile. So I just love how this is a lower profile on the table.
Where does it sit price-wise for those that don't know?
Yeah, so in US dollars, I think this is about 1800. Yep. Which obviously is, you know, it's a lot of value, like you said. Sure. But if you're already spending, you know, $6-7 on an espresso machine,
that's where we are there. Okay, yeah.
It makes sense to get a grinder that's really good.
Yeah. You know, so you're like 8-9 in total-ish.
Yeah, and then little tools here and there, but 8-9. Yeah, so it's a significant investment, but I always wanted a machine when I was a barista at a shop. I wanted to be like, hey, I want to do this at my house.
No,
now I can, which is cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have this for generations. Yeah, like that's kind of the cool thing with Lamasocco, right? Like, that's just never gonna. And if it does break on you, then they'll fix it.
It's built to last.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. We see that in coffee shops as well, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, super cool. I think that's a good place to kind of wrap that up. So for those of you that don't know, we did 2 videos. One home filter brewing video first, so check that out if you haven't done that. Obviously, we haven't done that many espresso videos so far, but this is super cool. It's really interesting. I know a lot of you guys are home brewers, so it'd be really interesting to get some input. I'm sure you would be really cool to see some like suggestions and ideas as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, home brewing espresso, it's like people are going even crazier than filter.
Way crazier. The gadgets. I mean, even I was thinking about getting a new WTT tool. Yep. And I was looking at some options, and I just decided not to because there's 30 options.
There's too many. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask actually, kind of as the last question.
Yeah.
Did you ever use any screens or paper filter?
I thought about it.
Like additional?
I thought about it, but I decided that I think this is as complicated as I want my routine to be.
Fair enough, though. Yeah.
And I've liked the results of my espresso. I know some people don't like the mess, especially in a smaller basket.
Like, especially with the metal basket, it's a mess.
Yes.
I was thinking because you're running such a low dose that a paper filter could actually help with flow rate.
Oh, interesting.
And that would be quite interesting taste-wise. So I would probably try that. And it's a little bit inexpensive as well. Like the metal screen, that is a mess, and you're gonna have to take it out. And it's
But the paper filter is a cool idea.
I think it's been quite interesting. Yeah, actually, like it's one of those things that I've been, you know, because we try everything in April. We don't always use everything. Yeah, and obviously, in from like a store perspective. It's sometimes a bit difficult to implement. Competition-wise, you're not allowed to from the score sheet. Like you can't put anything else in your portafilter. Right. So I think that's part of why that thing hasn't really taken off.
Because you can't do it
because we're not allowed to use it in competition, right? Yeah. But it's actually quite interesting. Like I'm not a fan of the screens.
It's too inconvenient because the whole when you're
paper filters,
paper filter is cool. I like that idea. Yeah,
check it out.
Sounds
awesome.
Good.
Cool. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, comment, do all of that. Patreon again, shout out, sign up. It's a cool thing. I'm going to create more value. See, he said that second time now, so then it must be true, right?
It must be true.
Yeah. So really cool. Thank you again for having us. 2 videos, really appreciate it. We're going to set you up for it. Super cool. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. We want to give a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to continue to make these videos. And we want you all to feel free to always come with suggestions and ideas on the content that you want to see, because we are doing this for you and because of you. Thank you from all of us here at April.